All right, let me give this video a prelude to begin with, because I know everybody is gonna have a difference of opinion. Tupac is the greatest rapper of all time, in my opinion, because of the impact that he had on me. Tupac was the biggest inspiration for me when it came to inspiring me to want to make my own music. So, he was the first to really inspire me that way, where I wanted to pick up a pen and a pad and make my own music. So I have to pay respect first and foremost to the first inspiration in hip hop. And for me, that was Tupac. So picture me 13, 14 years old and discovering his music to the point where, I had to listen to everything Tupac once I heard some songs that grabbed my attention. So I was playing every single song, every single album religiously, almost, obsessively. His style, his voice, his story became so, a part of my teenage years. So, to the point where, now you could play me a Tupac song now that I haven't heard for a long time, and I'll probably recall those lyrics from somewhere in the back of my brain, stored in here somewhere, and be able to spit it like it was just yesterday. So, he had that impact on me. But I'm gonna break it down more specifically by saying why he's the greatest, because of these three things, right? And these, again, these are personal to me, and this is my opinion. Number one was, his delivery and his passion. His delivery and his passion for me is unrivaled. To this day, I think it's rare, if not, I find it difficult to try to find somebody who matches that delivery and that passion that he had, that came across in his voice. He was unapologetically him. You knew who he was and what he stood for. There was nobody else like him. The first time I heard a Tupac song, actually, the song that it was Hit 'Em Up. So 13, 14, I'm living in my parents' house, and we had a computer that all of us used to use in the family. We had a computer in the living room area, the big living room area. And right next door to the living room area was like the kitchen area, and the main kind of family area, right? So I'm there listening to music, and I had the volume up real loud. I played Hit 'Em Up. I was like, this song, Tupac? Okay, Hit 'Em Up. I played it. And those first couple of lines, I ain't got no mother friends. That's why I your you fat mother. I was like, whoa, turn the volume right down. Turn the volume right down. My parents in the next room. I'm not trying to catch a backhand to the back of the head, or a backhand to the face or whatever. So I turned it right down. I was like, yo, Tupac, okay, I'm not listening to this guy. But, there was another song that I had that I downloaded, which was Changes. And when I had, worked up the courage to play Changes, that was it. Game over. Everything changed at that point. That song is so powerful. I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? Man, that song hits on a whole other level. So, his music, from that point on, I just kind of dived into it. I remember being in high school, and, I used to have a Sony shockproof Discman, and that I would squeeze in my pocket, like literally had to squeeze it in my pocket. And I had headphones, you put it up under your shirt, headphones on, and I would play Tupac's music while I'm walking around the quad in the school and in my own world, like imagining that whole world, and being taken to those places where Tupac was telling you those stories. So, that really captured my imagination on a whole other level. And I just kind of kept moving with it. The Better Days album, I remember my mom bought me the Better Days album. I listened to that so many times. And again, because that delivery, that passion, that honesty, I mean, you really felt it. and it hit you hard, you know. It really brought you to that world. The second reason why Tupac's the greatest of all time is, you know, he introduced me to really important stuff through music. So for me, it was initially when I first came into his music, I got introduced to the civil rights movement. Now, you know, he's a kid living in Southwest Sydney in Australia, and it was through his music that I really got an entry point into understanding the civil rights movement. I remember for school I had to do a project. I can't remember what subject it was for, but I had to do a project, and I started doing some research on Tupac, and I had known, you know, the meaning of his name and, you know, his mother's story a little bit, Afeni Shakur being a Black Panther. So that was gonna be the basis of my project. And so when I dived into it even further, I got a better understanding of who the Black Panther Party was, who was involved, but then contextually where they fit within this whole civil rights movement in the US. And I got an understanding of politics with respect to race. And, you know, again, at 13, 14, 15, I really went in on this stuff, man. Like, the music was a gateway for me to be able to understand that whole struggle. And for me, when it comes to hip hop, it really contextualized hip hop in that space as well. It gave me a real strong understanding of why hip hop is important and where it comes from and the significance of it to people, particularly black people. So, you know, that was a huge, you know, moment for me. And Tupac's music was a gateway to that. And it wasn't just the civil rights movements. I mean, from then it was, you know, a lifestyle of what it meant to be a young black male in the U.S., the you know, facing systems of oppression. It was, you know, a whole bunch of stuff that I was really getting clued in on through his music. And the third reason why Tupac, for me, is the greatest rapper of all time is his music empowered me. And not just me, but, you know, I know the same can be said for people in Southwest Sydney. And not just back in my time when I was a teenager, but even now. You still hear his music blasting in cars as you drive around Southwest Sydney. You know, I kind of joke when I travel to the States and people ask me about music and whatnot. I say, you know, we adopted Machiavelli in Southwest Sydney as one of our own. You know, he still reigns supreme out here, you know. So, you know, it really, and I say that because his music resonates with us. We may not have lived the experiences that he lived, but, you know, he spoke to us through his music and made us feel like we could be who we wanted to be. That we didn't have to be shy, we didn't have to be apologetic, we didn't have to bow down to no man. Like, we could be ourselves without having to compromise ourselves. And, you know, for me, that was so important, you know, in terms of at that age, again, finding myself, finding my voice, bringing me into music. It was because of his music. So, you know, for me, my experiences and paying respect to the biggest inspiration and the first inspiration for me that, you know, made me want to make music, I gotta say, you know, Tupac is the greatest rapper of all time.